its national security border supplemental, to make sure that we have billions of dollars for that advanced screening. This is hard to capture at our border checkpoints. It's hard to capture at our ports. We need extra resources. We need the advanced screening technology and additional law enforcement officers to combat this trafficking. So I want to thank again. It is, having been here and seeing families who've gone through trauma come to tell their stories to make a difference so no other family has to go through what they have, is so powerful. I cannot thank all of you enough for doing that for us here today. Thank you so much. Mr. Jimenez?
Hi, my name is Carlos Jimenez. I represent Florida's 28th Congressional District, and I'm glad to be talking to you today, although I'm not glad, because what it means is really we're talking about tragedy here. I want to thank our chairman, Mike Gallagher, who's leaving, for heading an investigation of really what is causing the fentanyl epidemic here in the United States, and it points to China. The drugs and the chemicals that are being shipped to Mexico out of China are actually illegal in China. It's only legal if they export the chemicals and the fentanyl to outside the country. And not only is that bad, they're turning their head away. Not only are they turning their head away, no, it's worse than that. They're actually incentivizing these companies to actually produce the chemicals which are illegal in China, but are legal to be spread around the world. So, well over 100,000 people a year are being killed by fentanyl. More than 80,000 are being killed right here in the United States. When the atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki, they killed 70,000 people. China is actually incentivizing the use of a weapon of mass destruction, not only in the United States, but on the West. And they're incentivizing those companies to do so. China is, by definition, the world's largest drug cartel. China is also involved in mass murder. Now, we've been talking, and folks want, more border protection, and yes, and I do too. But as a firefighter, I can tell you that we're taught not to put water on smoke, but actually go to the seat of the fire. If we make China stop the production of these chemicals and fentanyl in China, this epidemic stops, because they create more than 97% of the world's supply. And that's what we have to do. We also have to take a look at the Mexican drug cartels that are buying this stuff and then shipping it across the border. They are terrorists. Why? Because today, unfortunately, you're going to be joined by 200 other families. Every single day, 200 people, at least 200 people, young men and women, are dying here in the United States from fentanyl overdose. Can you imagine if you had a group of terrorists coming over and killing 200 people every single day? If the media would cover it that way, I think we'd be doing something about it. And so I'm calling on the Biden administration. Yes, you have to impose strict sanctions against China, the Chinese Communist Party. That's the only thing they understand. And yes, you need to talk to Mexico and say, we've had enough. Your cartels are killing our people, are killing our citizens. And the number one duty of government is to protect its citizens. And unfortunately, our government has failed you. Our government has failed these fine families that are behind me, and they're going to fail another 200 families today and another 200 families tomorrow. And so, again, we know what we have to do. We need to get it done. We need to decouple from China. We need to impose strict sanctions on them, their companies, so that we can stop this and future epidemics, because, the next one will be something else. They'll produce something else. So it just can't be about fentanyl, but also the future, where those chemical companies cannot produce the poison that's killing Americans and people around the world. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jaime Puerta. I'm the president of Void Victims of Illicit Drugs and co-chair with Andrea Thomas with Facing Fentanyl Now. If you think that this can't happen to your family, you are very mistaken. Due to the stigma of addiction and overdose, most people don't think that this can affect their family. But for the first time in the history of the United States, these criminal cartels south of the border have been able to penetrate a segment of society that was always elusive to them, and that is our children between the ages of 11 and 18 years of age, and it has to stop. We are suffering a 9/11 event every 2.5 weeks in the United States of America. But due to the stigma of addiction and overdose, most people do not pay attention, because when you hear of a kid who dies due to poisoning, they think, well, that person must have been just a drug addict, or that person must have consumed too much. There's no consuming of too much of fentanyl. We all know that. 2 milligrams or more, that's all that's needed to take the life of a child. So for the first time, we are dealing with a chemical that is killing non-addicted children in the United States of America between the ages of 11 and 17. And it has to stop. This is ridiculous. We live in the best and most powerful country in the United States. Not too long ago, a door came off of Alaska Airlines, and the whole fleet of 737s were grounded because of that. But yet we lose 300 Americans a day due to fentanyl poisoning. And what has been done? Nothing. But today, thank you to the China Select Committee, we've heard, and now we understand exactly what is happening in our nation. And now that we know what's going on, it's time to take action. It's time to take action, and we got to try to stop these poisoning from ever happening again. The murder of our children is not right. It just isn't. On top of that, we need to figure out a way how these cartels distribute these drugs through social media apps like Snapchat. Section 230C either needs to be reformed completely or nixed, or at least get a duty of care provision entered into that law. That way families like ours right behind us can hold these social media apps responsible for harboring these drug dealers on these apps. Period. Let's get to work. Thank you.
We ask our families, all of our affected families across the nation, to unite, to come together, share the message, and don't wait till it happens and affects your family. We need solutions. China's the head of the snake. That's the place to start. But at our community levels, our families across the United States, they don't have to have lost someone, can act. Share this information with your communities, with your leaders, your local leaders. You can help us save lives. We appreciate all of you being here today. Sam.
This is Sammy. He died 3 years ago from fentanyl poisoning. A drug dealer reached out to my son on Snapchat and delivered a lethal dose of fentanyl to my home like a pizza. My boy didn't have to leave his front yard to get the dose that killed him. I'm here to tell a story of one parent that is the story of hundreds of thousands of parents, and 100,000 parents made anew every year. It's not a story that any of you want to have happen to you, and it will. Don't think it can't, because that's what I thought. I didn't even know what fentanyl was. I didn't know that Snapchat was dangerous. I didn't know that you could lose a son sitting in his bedroom. I just want to put a human face on what's happening here today. The fact that another country can do this to us sort of subterraneously without anybody stopping them, without our government standing up for us. I think that time is coming to an end. Enough of our children have died that the lawmakers in this group are standing up for us, And we hope to put a call out to all the other lawmakers and all the other leaders in our country and in social media companies to stop doing what they're doing, and to the district attorneys who are letting these criminals out, to keep them locked up, to close up our border, to break the chain, to break any one of those pieces of the chain. And you could stop what's happening to us today. Unfortunately, it's been years. It's been years that we've been out here marching. It's been years that we've all been working together to try and put a stop to this. I don't know how many people have to die, but I know the number's going to be in the millions, and that's just horrible. Tomorrow in Congress we have a hearing on a law named after my son, Sammy's Law. It would require social media platforms with children to have third-party safety software to alert parents if anything dangerous like fentanyl poisoning came across their children's devices. Sammy's not here with us today, but Sammy's Law can save the lives of others. It can stop the sextortion, the choking challenges, the suicide baiting, and all of the harms that are happening online. A parent could parent again online with Sammy's Law. I hope you all will support it. Thank you. Thank you, hermano mío.
So we have to remember, in a time right now where we're all talking about the border crisis, we have to remember that fentanyl is flooding our country through land, sea, and air. There's no one magic bullet. We work very hard right now to stop the importation of these small packages that are coming in containing fentanyl. And we're lucky to be working with a coalition on something called the de minimis loophole. Kim Glass from NTCO has joined us today, and she's just going to give us a little bit of information about that and how you can help.
Thank you so much. I just want to recognize the great bravery and courage for all the people here who are standing here. I think of my son and daughter, and I think about the horrors that you have confronted and the poisonings that have taken everything from you, and you are fighting. So please know I am sending you so much love right now for what you're doing, coming to the halls of Congress and telling lawmakers not just that this is real, but see my child's face. Tomorrow, there's an important hearing. There's a lot of important work happening on Capitol Hill because of what you're doing, because you are coming here and because you're sharing your stories. Tomorrow, the House Ways and Means Committee will mark up a bill called de minimis. You're like, I've never heard of this. Most people haven't. But there are 4 million packages coming in a day from China and elsewhere that require no information and get sidetracked by Customs and Border Protection. We don't know the origins, and it's bleeding into our system. Fentanyl, precursors, pill presses. We are so lucky to be working with you and Jaime and others as part of our coalition. Last year, there were 3 million packages a day, now 4 million. Can you imagine we're importing products we don't even know where it's coming from, and it's killing us? We need to hold lawmakers accountable that doing something marginal on this is not going to fix the problem. Cut it off now. Nobody benefits from de minimis if they lose their life. And over this weekend, I got a very brave contact, a woman who contacted me that her son died when he ordered something online that he thought was Percocet, and it was internationally mail shipped from China. And he lost his life because he couldn't get into the doctor quick enough to fix his back problem. And his 2-year-old tried to wake up her daddy that morning, and he was not alive. This is a crisis. We need to hold people accountable. We are grateful for your leadership. We're grateful for our congressional leaders and the China Select Committee for being here and voicing the concern around de minimis. And I just want to thank you so much for your leadership.
Thank you.
One more comment from Congressman Garcia, please.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank again the families for coming out, and this is a very small fraction of victims being represented by these posters. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this to every parent in the United States and frankly around the world. Have a conversation with your kids, your grandkids, your neighbors, because like many of these folks, they didn't see this coming. They weren't even aware of this problem. We've got to get smart on this as parents. Like I said, I'm a father of a teenager. You have to have a conversation with your kids about, while they may think they're taking something that is a prescription drug through a cheaper resource, the reality is pretty much everything now is fentanyl. And if it's not coming from a doctor's prescription, it is likely fentanyl. And these are not chemists making these pills. They do make mistakes, and you do see significant failures lead to the poisonings and the death. So please have that conversation with your child. And I'll leave you with this last one metaphor, which is if we knew that there was a boat full of VX gas, which is one of the most toxic weapons of mass destruction from a gas perspective, on a slow boat from China that would take a week or two to get to the United States, we would intercept that boat before it got to Long Beach harbors, before it got across our borders or into our territories. We know this is a poison, this is a weapon of mass destruction, literally coming across our border every day, and we are allowing it to happen. And when I say we, this administration is allowing this open border policy, and the DEA is not doing as much as it can to stop these slow boats coming from China that are actually carrying the precursor materials into not only ports in Mexico, but also ports in the United States. So this is something that we can solve, but please educate your kids or your grandkids or your neighbors' kids on this issue. This is very real. And God bless all the families who are here today. We're going to do everything that we can from a legislative perspective. We need the executive branch to step it up as well, and we'll get there. But please continue this fight until we truly accomplish what we need to. And Jaime and the rest of the team, thank you guys. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
My name's Alan Vickers. I'm the founder of Chase Away Fentanyl, and I'm the new kid on the block probably. My son just passed January the 16th. My son just passed January the 16th of this year. And, you know, he went and picked up a pill that he thought was a Roxycontin. And his autopsy report came back and it was 100% fentanyl. And it looked just like a Roxycontin. That was according to the sheriff's department. You know what? We got to stop it from coming here. Like people tell me how brave I am for doing this. I'm not brave. I'm doing what I got to do. This is what I got to do to survive. Fentanyl is the most horrific thing this country has ever seen, even close to seeing. And we've got to stop it. And I tell you what, we talk about China and we talk about Mexico. Let's talk about the drug dealers. Let's get them prosecuted. I have proof of where every ounce came from. I have it on my telephone right now, messages. Facebook messengers. They've done nothing. Now the guy's had a chance to move. That's in Tennessee. We have got to do something. I can't lose another child because that was my only child. Thank you.
We have families here that have lost multiple children, multiple family members. There's no safe dose of this. It either addicts or it kills. The drugs that are coming tomorrow, the emerging drugs, are even more dangerous. It's unbelievable to us that there's something more dangerous than fentanyl. But the synthetic opioids coming from this country, from China, are taking our military-aged men and women, 18 to 45. Our children, 14 and under, are dying at a rate faster than any other. Imagine if you have children at home, young people, they're dying faster than any other age. We appreciate the media being here today. We appreciate the China Select Committee working with us, sharing, confirming what we've long believed. And now Congress has stepped up to help us. So again, we ask the communities to step up and help. Address it at home. Address it with your leaders. We need every voice. We appreciate everyone's time today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Matthew, you going to say some more?
good for now. You guys said it perfect.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry for that.